All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the Modern Horizons 2 complete set release. Every single card, every single one. All right, and limited, constructed, you name it, we're doing it. So far, we did white, blue, black, and red. If you missed any of those, they're all gonna be on my YouTube. Go watch them on YouTube. Definitely check them out. Appreciate that. And to my sponsors, Coalesce, CoolStuffInc.com, BCWSupplies.com, Insight Esports. Check out all that good stuff. We're jumping right into green here. We're jumping right in here with a new card. Abundant Harvest. That's a cool new card. Of course, Abundant Harvest was the preprint we saw in the Mystical Archives. Kind of a fun thing to do, honestly. We've been seeing it now in play in Historic for a while now. Abundant Harvest is really, really good. This is the best cantrip in Historic. It enters Modern as a fantastic cantrip. Just always gets you what you want. It's cheap, good and prowsy stuff. Just like really, really good. Just helps you play a nice low land count. Card's super great. Just really, really good. This will see play for sure in Modern. What decks want it? That I'm not really sure, honestly. I mean, does a deck like Jund want this card? Does a deck like Valakut want this card? I don't know. Just a really, really good card. Seen play in Legacy, absolutely, yeah. It's a rare in Arena. It's a common in everywhere else. They probably could have done the rarities for the Mystical Archives better on Strixhaven. I think for Limited, it makes sense the way they did them, but for Constructed, it feels pretty bad. So, super cool card. Just really, really great. Great and Limited, great constructed. Just a great card. It's like Ponder. Just like a really, really good, solid card that most decks want. I'm also really, really like that they give non-blue colors cantrips. I'd love to see a white cantrip like this. Ancient Stirrings is a very different Magic card than this card is. Ancient Stirrings just does one particular thing really, really well. Abundant Harvest is more like a Ponder. Abundant Harvest is more like Ponder. Ancient Stirrings is more like Faith of Saluting, where it's good in certain decks, not in all decks. So yeah, definitely a very powerful card. Super great. Up next is Evie, Progenitor Ooze. Green, 2. Legendary Ooze. Storm.
Inconceivable!
A creature with Storm? Okay. It's not legendary if it's token. And of course, the Storm copies just make token copies of the spell. And it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other Ooze you control. So, this card's wild. So you Storm for 3. You get a 2/2, a 3/3, and a 4/4, right? Or some whatever. It's a wild one. It's pretty hard to do because it's green, and 2. Does seem pretty hard to cast this card. It does feel like the limited mechanic for the set for Gruul is Stormy, which is kind of cool. Just a wild card. Just an absolutely wild Magic card. I couldn't see this card being played in like actual Modern over like Empty the Orange, something like that. You can play other Ooze cards too, like for like an Ooze tribal thing, sure. But yeah, pretty wild card. Definitely. It's a wild one. They're all equal, right? And this battlefield plus a counter on it for each other Ooze you control. Well, not because like the first one comes in as a 2/2. Second one comes in and sees the other one. That's now it's a 3/3, then a 4/4, then a 5/5, right? And there's a with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other Ooze you control. Yeah, because they come in separately. So because each Storm copy is a copy, so it's copy, then copy, then copy, then copy. So, yeah, just a kind of a fun card. I don't know what's gonna happen with it in Modern, but maybe Limited for sure. Up next is Bannerhide. Shock. 4 mana for a 4/4 trample. It's already solid Limited. Has Reinforce 2. So you pay 2, discard this card, put 2 counters on a creature, and it can scavenge for 7. Scavenge ability is exile this card from your graveyard and put a number of counters on it equal to this card's power on the creature and scavenge the sorcery. This is a really good common. This is a really, really good counter. 4/4 trample for 4 is already fine. That's fine. A 2-mana pump spell that can't be countered, that discards a card for your discarded card triggers, puts 2+1 counters on for your counter stuff, and is a permanent pump spell for 2 is awesome. And then the ability to scavenge us later and get 4+1 counters is also awesome. This is just like a bonkers limited common. It does everything. You take off Reinforce or take off Scavenge, and this card's super solid. With both, this card is insanely flexible. Insanely flexible. Really cool card. Not for constructed, obviously, but great limited common. If you have a Pauper Cube, this card's definitely super there for it as well, but cool common. Really cool common. Up next is Blessed Respite. 2 mana for an instant. Target player shuffles or graveyard into a library, and Fog. This card's scary for like Turbo Foggy decks because you can keep shuffling all your fogs back while keep fogging. Whether Turbo Fog is a viable strategy in Modern remains to be seen, but I can imagine formats where this card would be obnoxious. It's probably not Modern, thankfully, but it's a thing to be aware of. Yeah, it's sort of graveyard hate, but not really great graveyard hate. It's just an interesting card, honestly. Like Fog, graveyard hate. Does this shuffle itself in? No, because the effect happens while the card's on a stack, and then the card resolves and goes to the graveyard. So if you cast it targeting yourself, you would shuffle in your graveyard, and the graveyard, when it resolves, would be just this card. But the next one will, correct. But so like, if you're playing a Turbo Fog deck, you could like theoretically like Fog, shuffle your graveyard, find another Fog, shuffle your graveyard, find another card, and just keep going forever. But yeah, kind of a cute card. Looks like it'd be really annoying, probably, but yeah, that's a card. In limited, don't play this card, but yeah, I don't know. Up next is Fang Squirrel General. All right. Let's get to the squirrels. 3 mana for a 3/3 Forest Walk, so reasonable stats. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many squirrels are created instead. So if I make a clue, I get a squirrel. If I make a treasure, I get a squirrel. Kind of cool. Then you pay a black and sacrifice X squirrels. Target creature gets plus X minus X on the turn. I mean, the rate is here. Like, the rate is definitely here. You know, this card does a lot of different things for pretty cheap. Makes extra tokens. It can kill things. It's a decent size. I don't think there's a squirrel deck in Modern that wants this card, but phenomenal limited card, fun casual card. It's cute. It's cute. You know, definitely a cute card. I don't know. The rate's there as far as like a Magic card goes. As a Modern Magic card, probably not. You can company for it, maybe. I don't know. Up next is Chatterstorm. And Chatterstorm is half of a Empty the Warrens. 2 mana Storm, make a Squirrel. This card is going to be probably an important limited card. It doesn't feel like Storm is kind of like the red-green mechanic. Of course, Squirrel tokens are very relevant. Tokens are very relevant. Chat says, all right, next you want Nut Shot, please. Is it a Gut Shot? Or Grape Shot? Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I mean, pretty cool card. Probably doesn't replace Empty the Warrens in actual Storm decks because they're good at getting mana. So you just play Empty instead. Empty's banned in Pauper, sure. This card is definitely a very real Pauper card for sure. Probably gets banned in Pauper, right? I can definitely see that for sure. But yeah, cute draft card. Probably not for Modern. Definitely cool Pauper card if it survives. The thing is, you want to guess Bushwhacker after this, so like I don't know why you never play this over Empty the Warrens, but cute card for sure. Then we have Chitter Spinner. 3 mana for an artifact. Beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice a token. If you do, put an Acorn counter on Chitter Spinner. Squirrels you control, give us a +1 counter for each Acorn counter on Chitter Spinner, and then make a Squirrel token. So phenomenal draft card, obviously. You just constantly churning out tokens, which is great. Pumping them up, which is great. Constructed, I mean, probably not, but fun card. Powerful effect. I mean, you sack a clue or a treasure to this or whatever. You sack a squirrel to this, whatever. You keep making squirrels. They get bigger and bigger. Even if you just like, the first thing you do with this, like make a squirrel, sack it next turn. Make a squirrel, sack it next turn. Now you're making 3/3s, which is pretty sick. So, yeah, not legendary. Again, kind of a fun casual card, good limited card. Again, I don't think this is going to see play in Modern, but It's fun. It's cute. I feel like we're gonna say it's fun, it's cute a lot of times in this video for this section for green. So let's hold on to it. All right, crack open, 3 mana source for disenchant, make a clue. Sorry, treasure token, not a clue. Pretty underwhelming. Sorcery speed, 3 mana disenchant, not very exciting. Cyborg card limited at best, not very exciting. Deepwood Denizen, 3 mana for a 2/3 vigilance, 5 mana tap it, draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each +1/+1 counter or creature using control. Solid draft card for a career counters deck. I mean, a 3/2 vigilance for 3 is like passable, and then if you can draw cards in the late game, certainly reasonable. So it's a limited filler card. Dusk Shell Crawler, 2 mana for an 0/3, comes into play. Put a counter on a creature. Each creature you control the counter has trample, so it's a 1/4 that gives everything trample in theory. Similar to like Iron Shell, Beetle, or whatever. Solid limited card. The more synergy you have, the better with counters. Not super exciting, but good modular cards too, honestly. A lot of cross synergy with modular cards, which is kind of cool. Endurance. We come to the green pitch incarnation, the last one. And this one's also pretty cyborgy. So we have green 1 for a flash reach 3/4. So honestly, like pretty reasonable stats. We could also accompany to this card, which is reasonable. And you can pitch your green card, obviously. When it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player puts all the cards from their graveyard on the bottom of their library in a random order. So we have the Graveyard Hate incarnation. Again, all the incarnations are pretty reactive, and this is your anti-graveyard card, right? So you're playing a green deck, they're playing Dredge, and they flip their cards. Sort of like a Ravenous Trap, if you will. But it's also a 3/4 reach for 3, which is reasonable. It's a spell for Vengevine, sure. Very, very fair. Very, very fair. Just a fine card. It's a fine Cyborg card. You're not main decking it. It's one of the multitude of Cyborg cards you can play against graveyard stuff. Turn 1 Vengevine. I mean, that is a possible thing that could happen, I suppose. But, yeah. It's alright. It's got Flash. The Flash is the important part. If this couldn't exile graveyard's instant speed, it'd be terrible. So, definitely fine. Yeah, it's just another sideboard card. There's a million graveyard hate cards in Modern. This is just another one. Just another one. And limited, this card's freaking great. 3/4 flash for 3 is already great and limited. You're going to ambush attackers. You're going to eat things here. So it's very, very solid draft card for sure. Up next is Fey Offering, the mana for an enchantment. Beginning of each end step, you played a creature spell and a non-creature spell. You get a clue, a food, and a treasure. Kind of a cool build around for limited. You get paid off pretty big time. You can do this often, but the question, of course, is can you do this often? Does that have reach too? Man, freaking sneaky reach. God.
Somebody's playing a prank on me.
I missed it again. Sneaky reach makes the card even better. But yeah, makes a ton of permanence, but pretty hard to trigger. It's just kind of like an interesting limited card. If you can trigger this reliably, sure, but not really a card for constructed or anything like that. Just a kind of a cute card. Flourishing Strike, 2 mana, instant, 5 damage to a creature with flying or giant growth, entwine 3. Sideboard card for the most part. You don't want to play 2 mana giant growth and limited for the most part. But if it kills a flyer, it's phenomenal. So definitely mostly a sideboard card for limited. Foundation Breaker, 4 mana for a 2/2. Comes into play, disenchant, evoke. Cool card. Cool card. I think it'd be a lot better if it cost 3. So you can company into it. Company into it. That would make it like on par with like or better than Reclamation Sage. At 4 mana, much less exciting. You can tutor for it with like creature stuff, which is kind of cool. 2 mana disenchant. It's also a sorcery, no flash. So not, I mean, fringe possible in Modern for decks that might want to tutor this effect, but not very exciting. And then limited, I mean, not really great there either. It's just like a fringy card in most spots. Funnel Web Recluse, 5 mana for a 3/5 reach, which is already pretty solid limited. Has Morbid. Enters the battlefield. If a creature died this turn, investigate. That's really good. Really solid draft common. If you can get the clue off this with any reliability, a 3/5 reach for 5 that draws a card is awesome and limited. Very, very solid defensive card, limited. I like it a lot. Gaia's Will. One thing I want to know about green in this set. Why does green get to do literally freaking everything? I don't understand. Like, green gets to do actual, they can draw cards, they can kill things. This is just Yawgmoth's Will, but it's green. This is the green entry into the no mana cost cycle. Spend for 1 green. Until end of turn, you may play land cards and cast spells from your graveyard and then exile it. So basically just Yawgmoth's Will for green. Obviously, to spend for 1 green is awkward because you want to cast it the turn you go off. The card makes more sense in green than black. Maybe. But just kind of a weird card. I mean, if you're playing like a Storm deck or whatever, this card's pretty busted. But of course, you need to like line up your suspend correctly. Don't think this card will do very much. Just like don't think it's super exciting, honestly. And limited, I guess in limited you could like set up a Storm turn with this, which is kind of cool. So could be a thing, but I don't know. Up next is Glimmer Baron. 1 green for a 1/2. Sack a token to get +2/+2. Basically an ATOG. The base stats here are pretty bad. If this was like a 2/2 for 2 and the base stats were passable, we'd have a much better card here, but not very exciting, honestly. We're sacking clues or food to this. The problem is, like, it's not very threatening by itself. So, yeah, not super pumped about this card. No. Glinting Creeper. 5 mana for a 0/0. Has Converge. Enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each color spent. Can't be blocked by creature's power 2 or less. I mean, again, there's like one of these Converge cards in every color. If there's a 5-color deck, this card's a honkin' freaking shonker.
Oh my god, Becky.
Like, we're talking about a 10/10 for 5 that can't be jump blocked. That's huge. That's huge. So, even if you're playing like 4 colors or 3 colors, it's certainly passable. It could be a 6/6 for 5, which is also reasonable. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're splashing, this card is very reasonable. If you're not, it's not. Herd Bailoth. 5 mana for a 4/4. Whenever 1 or more counters are putting on Herd Bailoth, make a 4/4. Pretty solid card here. There was some reinforced stuff in the set. If you ever get a second 4/4 of this, you are way ahead on rate. So, powerful card for sure. Synergy based, you need to have ways to trigger it, but very powerful card. Very powerful card. That is true. Treasures do allow splashing pretty easily. So, treasures make those Converge cards really, really good. Almost like incidentally, which is kind of cool. So, oh boy. Oh boy. Best in show, it's a goblin, of course, but it's a green goblin. A green goblin, no less. Ignoble Hierarch. The only qualm I have with Ignoble Hierarch is it has Exalted. It feels like a sort of a, the mirror evil image of Noble Hierarch, of course. It's 1 green. It makes other colors. It's a goblin, not a human. It's like a rough and rugged card, not an exalted hoity-toity card. The problem is, what mechanic do you give it to make it still good? Battle Cry would be kind of cool, but probably not very powerful. It's certainly a lot better as exalted. Devour's interesting, sure. I don't know if that's good or not. But regardless of my qualms of the design of the card, Ignoble Hierarch is probably going to be one of the most played cards in the entire set. Noble Hierarch is one of the best cards in Modern. One of the best mana creatures ever, if not the best mana creature ever. It's not Deathrite Shaman. And this is just Noble Hierarch for different colors. Like red and black are really good colors. You see Noble Hierarch in like multicolor decks often. This card is really, really, really good. It being a goblin is relevant. Of course, being green is a little awkward, but casting Goblin Warchief on turn 2, Ring Gator on turn 3, also really, definitely really cool. So it's a real card. It's a real card. It's super real in goblins, real card in general. Just a really good card. There's not much else to say. You all know how good Noble Hierarch is. Vermilion says, look at me in the eye and tell me this is better than Rocket Man and Jund. Jund might not want this card, but a bunch of other decks do. Green Black Infect can play this card. any red green. So this card is, insane in like a Ponza deck or whatever because it makes red. Cast Liliana the Veil. Whether it's Jund or not, like classic Jund. It's a goblin. It's just really good. It's not much to say, honestly. This card's busted. Limited is great. Noble Hierarch's insane. That's really all there is to it. Really all there is. Jade Avenger. Frog Monday. Yeah, so this is an in-joke. I'll leave it to the comments to explain the in-joke. So you can be like, I'm so smart. I know magic lore. But this is a cute 2-drop, of course. Reasonable. The real best in show. Yeah, right. Just a fun 2-drop for limited. Just funny. And honestly, this might help next Frog Monday if I do Frog Monday again. To actually have enough playables for a frog deck. We'll see. We'll see. Is neither here nor there. Jewel-Eyed Cobra. 3 mana for a 3/1 Death Touch. Dies make a treasure. Great card. Great card. Great blocker. Solid attacker. Gets value. Just a solid draft common, honestly. Just very solid draft common. Orchard Strider, whatever. 6 mana for a 6/4. Comes into play to make 2 foods. And it is basic land cycling. So, mana fixer. Good body and good effect. The white one's like a 4/6 for 5/6 and do anything. This is a 6/4 for 6 and makes 2 food. Super cool. Super cool. Very solid common. Good mana fixer. I like it. Yeah, Frog Monday happened. Go look for it on YouTube. Decent card to reanimate too. Just solid common. Solid common. Rift Sower. 3 mana for a 1/3. Taps for any color. Suspend 2. It's cute. Obviously, it's a 1 mana elf that's a 1/3 taps for any color, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, like, I don't know what deck wants this card. Very solid draft card. Very, very solid draft card. Again, if Storm's kind of a thing, Suspend is a great way to enable Storm. So, very solid draft card. Not going to see play anywhere else, probably. But maybe Pauper. Probably not. Excuse me. I'm okay. I swear. I'm good. Sanctum Weaver. 2 mana, 0/2 enchantment creature. Add X mana of any color, where X the number of enchantments you control. There's a lot of enchantment stuff in this set, and this card's pretty wild. It's obviously very fragile. It's an 0/2 for 2. It's an enchantment. It's a creature. Dies to a lot of stuff. But if you get to untap with this card, you can go bananas. So it obviously counts itself also. So by itself, it's a mana creature with no other help. And then with a few enchantments in play, this thing starts to go really, really wild. Anything it taps for 3 or more mana has insane potential. So very powerful card. Obviously, it dies to Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, everything else under the sun. And most enchantment decks don't have many creatures in them, so you're just kind of turning on their removal. But still, also a combo with Free from the Real. There's a couple enchantments that can, like, you put on this, pay a blue, untap it, tap it, untap it, tap it. So possibility there as well for sort of like a Devoted Druid style infinite mana combo. Yeah, I mean, definitely a powerful card. Limited, it's just like a mana creature, right? Just like totally fine. But constructed, this card could see play. It's fragile but powerful. Up next is Scurry Oak. 3 mana for a 1/2 with Evolve. That's the Simic mechanic. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature has greater power or toughness in this creature. You get to add a counter to it. Whenever counters are added to it, make a Squirrel. That's a fun card. So solid draft card here. You play this on turn 3. Turn 4, you play basically any creature. And this is now a 2/3, and you get a Squirrel, and it keeps going, which is kind of cool. Solid draft card. Good for plus and counter synergies. Good for Squirrel synergies. Good for token synergies. Pretty cool. Up next is Smell Fear. 2 mana for a sorcery. Proliferate, and then fight. Cool draft common, obviously, if you're in plus and counter stuff. This card will be as good as it is in your deck, basically. It sounds silly, but like the more counter stuff you have, the better it is, obviously. Just reasonable draft common. Squirrel Sanctuary. 1 mana for an enchantment. Comes into play, make a Squirrel. So already 2 permanents for 1 mana. Reasonable. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 1. If you do, bounce Sanctuary back to its hand. It's kind of cool. So play it, make a squirrel. Whatever comes back, play it, make a squirrel. Kind of cool. So, cool card. Obviously, it won't trigger off itself. It's non-token. But 2 permanents for 1 mana always deserves a look. And kind of a cool card. Probably won't see play in Modern or anything. But kind of a cool card. Good limited card, too. Definitely a good limited card for sure. This will make a lot of tokens. A lot of tokens. Squirrel Sovereign. We get a lord for squirrels. I love seeing these lords for like these non-existent tribes. Like the dog lord is actually the best 2-mana lord ever printed. There's just no good dogs. Like it's all bad dogs. All bad dogs. This is a more basic lord, just like no other effects, just 2/2 pump for 2. I mean, if you're playing squirrels, it's a lord. I don't think lords are very good in most cases, but good draft card. Godspeed, you person who builds company's squirrel deck. I'll probably do it too, but there you go. There you go. Up next is Sylvan Anthem. For some reason, white gets to do anthems better than white. I mean, for some reason, green gets to do anthems better than white too. So green, creatures you control, green creatures you control, can plus +1. Whenever a green creature enters the battlefield, scry 1. This is a really good anthem. Like, 2 mana for an anthem is like basically the base level of where it needs to be playable. And then getting to scry a lot's awesome too. Again, probably not good enough for Modern, I don't think. But honestly, like, you just play with an elves, right? And like now you can't get lava darted anymore. You get the scry and stuff like that. This card's good. This card could definitely see play in Modern. It's busted and limited. Just busted. And green just gets more and more of the pie. More and more of the pie. Pretty good card. Not a crazy good card, but a solid card for what it does. Great and limited. Yes, definitely the anti-Plague Engineer card in Elves, for sure. Pteromorph. 4-mana sorcery. Rampant growth. Put the land in untapped and rebound. So sort of like a explosive vegetation variant. Again, rebound, of course, helps you get storm count, which is kind of cool. I mean, this would allow you to cast a 6-drop on turn 5, or a 7-drop on turn 5, in theory, because you can use both lands. 2 spells, kind of cool. Not really good enough for Modern or anything like that, but kind of a cool draft card for sure. Also a good mana fixer for a multicolor deck. It's cool. It's a cool card. Thrasta, Tempest's Roar. A lot of fuss around this card. 12 mana for a 7/7 trample haste. This spell costs 3 less to cast for each other spell cast this turn. Trample over planeswalkers. So if they attack a planeswalker, you trample to your opponent. And it is hexproof the turn it comes into play. This card is very powerful. Everyone's like, Manamorphose, Manamorphose, Manamorphose. The thing is that if you've cast 3 spells before this, it still costs 3. Which is, a decent amount of mana to cost. This card is good. I don't know what deck wants this card, honestly. And it's pretty much specifically just the card Manamorphose that makes this card exciting. Sure, you can go gut shot. That is true. If you're playing Phyrexian spells. I could see if there's like a red-green like prowess deck or something. This could be like a backup plan. But there's Burning Tree Emissary, sure. The problem is the double green really hurts, and the fail state of this card's pretty freaking bad. So it's powerful, definitely powerful, but I don't think it'll do much. Mishra's Bauble, sure. I don't know. Not super exciting. It's cool. It's kind of fun. In limited, it's great. I mean, set up a turn where you can suspend and rebound to cast it for cheap. It's cute. Why is a green card summoning lightning? I don't know. It does counter your opponent's spells. That is true. But I don't know what benefit that gives you. Like if they bolt your creature, I guess, something like that. But so green hurts. Green hurts for sure. That's the biggest downside of his card. And then definitely more commander card for sure. It's kind of cool. But Timeless Witness, 4-mana Eternal Witness with Eternalize. Good draft card. Good draft card for sure, but that's basically it. Tireless Provisioner. All right, look. I'm trying to sully the good name of Tireless Tracker. I don't appreciate that. 2 mana for a 3/2. It's an elf, not a human either. And landfall, make a food or a treasure. Know what's better than a food or a treasure? A clue. Right? So this card is not Tireless Tracker. It does make treasures, so it is sort of like a Lotus Cobra in that respect, where you like make a land, make a mana, make a land, make a mana. But Lotus Cobra doesn't see play. I don't think a 3 mana 3/2 Lotus Cobra is going to see play either. Great draft card. Great draft card for sure. Also eating a baguette, which is great. I love baguettes. Baguettes are freaking delicious. But yeah, cool draft card. I know Tireless Tracker. This ain't no Tireless Tracker. All right. Urban Daggertooth. 4 mana for a 4/3 vigilance. Enrage. Whenever it's dealt damage, proliferate. Kind of a cool draft common for like for countery decks. Pretty sweet. Again, kind of cool with the modular stuff, things like that. You know, decent body, has vigilance, trades off, pumps some stuff. Just a, you know, kind of an okay to filler level draft common. Verdant Command. 2 mana for an instant. Choose 2. Player creates 2 tapped squirrels. Counter a loyalty ability from a planeswalker. Exile a card from a graveyard. Gain 3 life. A lot of flexibility for 2 mana, but like, what deck wants this card? You know, like 2 squirrels for 2 mana is okay. Countering loyalty abilities is pretty narrow, reasonable but narrow. Card from a graveyard, sure. Gain 3 life, okay. I mean, like, sure, you're playing a squirrel tribal deck. I guess you play this card as like a Raise the Alarm with extra text on it, but all right, limited, sure, it's great. Raise the Alarm's fine, limited. The fact that you can't ambush with the squirrels is pretty big deal, honestly. But yeah, it's cute. As expected. Take a drink. Please don't die alcohol poisoning. Ren's Run Hydra. Red and X. Reach. Enters battlefield with X counters on it, or reinforce X. Very solid draft card here. Very solid draft card. You know, 4/4 for 5 with reach and counters on it. The synergy there. Reinforce, super awesome with the synergy stuff. An X-powered pump spell is pretty cool. Just pretty solid draft card. Nothing crazy. It's a fireball. Sure, if you're attacking your opponent and limited, very reasonable. And now we come to our reprints. And this is a pretty big one here. Pretty big one. Enchantress's Presence. One of the better Enchantress effects. No Agathorian Enchantress. That would have been the best, of course. But 3 mana enchantment. If you cast an enchantment, you draw a card. This not being a creature and being durable is very, very important. If it was going to be an Enchantress deck in Modern, this is the linchpin for the deck. If there's not, there's nothing, obviously. But obviously, Rebecca Guy, I don't know how to say it, is freaking awesome. I love her art. And cool card for sure. Definitely be building on this one. A lot of enchantments here in Roast Reset. Thanks so much. You know, Confinement, Sterling Grove. Is Gay? Okay, so Rebecca Gay, yeah, Rebecca Gay is freaking awesome. Her art's just like so, like, it's so unique compared to other artists. Love it. Love it. But yeah, it's a cool card for sure. Enchantress decks could be a thing. We'll see. Again, sitting behind a Confinement and a Presence is not always the funnest thing in the world, but Back to Nature is also a card too. So there are cards in place. Hunting Pack is here. And one of the original Storm cards from Scourge. Not one of the ones that's as well known, but 7 mana, make a 4/4 Storm. This would be a great draft card. I'm assuming if the Storm mechanic is reasonable. It's cool. It's a fun draft card for sure. Quirion Ranger is a big one. So big card in Legacy Elves gets added to Modern Elves. Of course, no glimpse in Modern means no combo potential, meaning this card's not as good as it could be, but cool card to add to Elves. Pretty cool card. Pretty cool card. Squirrel Mob, of course, obviously. Why not, right? So the Squirrel Enabler from Odyssey jumps into the format here. Again, going to be a good draft build around. I guess if you're playing Company, I'm sure I'll build a Company Squirrel deck at some point. Maybe my 10 new brews next week. We'll build Squirrel Company deck because that's a pretty reasonable one also. And then a real big one here, real close to best in show. Real close to best in show is Titania. Am I saying that wrong? Protector of Aragoth. This card sees play in Legacy. This is a 5 mana, 5/3. When it comes into play, you return a land from your graveyard to the battlefield. whenever a land is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you get a 5/3 elemental. So play it, get a fetch land, crack the fetch. That's 10 power over 5 mana. And it only goes crazier from there, right? You have fetches in play, sack lands to other things. This card is really, really, really good. We'll definitely see play. I know the green white like land Valakut deck. Flagstones will love this card. It's a really powerful card, honestly. It does not have a bolt, which definitely is a concern, but still a very powerful card. You can easily play around bolt in a manner where you leave yourself with 2 5/3s in play after this. So, very powerful card, very exciting card, very big addition to the format. This is a commander card. Sees play in Legacy, and we'll definitely see play in Modern too. And Yevmai Elder, a relic of the past. This card has been cut from most cubes at this point. It's just not a very good card anymore. Used to be a major card, but yeah, definitely good for limited. Very good limited card. This card's not really on the ball anymore as far as power level goes. A different time, my friend. A different time. But now is not the time for you. That's it for green. So, all my YouTube folks, please take a second, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the best in show. Is it ignoble hierarch? Is it something else? Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know your thoughts. Take 2 seconds. Help me out a ton. And don't forget, folks, like I said, 10 new brews next week. 10 new brews. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 10 new modern decks. I'll brew them all up with always new cards. 10 complete modern leagues. It'll all be up on YouTube. It'll all be on Twitch. Check it out, of course. And that's it. YouTube folks, love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Multicolor and colorless to follow.